Tim,
Hey John, how you doing, buddy?
you're inside today. That's new.
I'm inside today. My neighbors told me that I'm too loud when I do these
No,
things.
no.
I get a little excitable, like
Okay.
it's like the guy when he told me that expected me to get all defensive, and I'm
Yeah.
like, yeah, I know.
Yeah.
you know,
Man, you know what? That is the easiest way to disarm any conversation is, yeah, guilty.
and I'm like, you don't have to yell. You can just tap me on the shoulder and say, dude, and I'll be like, oh, sorry. So I'm
Awesome.
inside. I close my windows. I got the AC on, so it's making noise, and we can just be as loud as we freaking want now.
I love it. I
Okay.
love it. Well,
Let
hey,
me talk
let's talk
today, buddy.
about desire paths.
Oh, you sent me that article, man. I love that
Does
whole
it blow your
concept.
mind?
Yeah, it really does because it's funny because I think that you and I have created some of our own desire paths.
Well,
When we
I don't know.
walk cities and stuff.
I don't know if you remember when we were working on Prevailing Path, I had this slide in there that was this thing. It was like keep off the grass, use the sidewalk, and
Right.
there was the path where people actually walked. And desire paths, it's kind of weird. It's a little racy actually, but it's a
By the
term.
way, I just want to make sure everyone understands that desire paths and where this conversation started is with urban planning. But we're gonna
Yeah.
segue over. So go
Well,
ahead.
no, that's what I mean. That's what I thought was great. Urban planners use this term to talk about the desired path of where people want to walk, and it's fascinating and actually really smart people who build buildings and developments and campuses and all kinds of things today actually will use this. A lot of times they won't even build the final sidewalks until they really see where people want to walk, because guess what people do? They walk where they want to walk.
They find their own place. I mean, I think part of the article, it talked about how there was a hill, and instead of taking the stairs, not only did the people take the grass hill, even when it was muddy, they went
Right.
through there instead of somewhere else. And I knew the minute you sent me that, besides I know that you have a lot of interests and that you found it cool because you're always showing really cool things. But I knew that you were going to relate this to marketing and what's happening there. And the fact that at Prevailing Path, we were trying to understand rather than what most brands think of the way people shop, but what
Right.
is the actual prevailing path?
Well, I mean, there's a really cool piece of data we have at Photify. And when we have these large communities, we have communities of thousands and thousands of people who are making content every day locally, so it's not the marketer sitting at the brand headquarters, it's people out in the field doing the things. And what I always find the most fascinating piece of data that we have is what elements people use as they're creating their content, because they've got they've got hundreds of choices that they can choose. And we have we have a ranking that these are the top templates. These are the top design elements that are people using. And as a marketer, I always find that fascinating because it's usually not what I expect, right? Because, these are the people closest to the customer. They actually know what resonates with their audience, not me. That's not that first person connection with the customer. But I think it's a fascinating thing, and I think there's more that marketers can start to do with understanding what people actually do versus what we expect them to do.
Or what a lot of these AI learning systems are discovering, and as you so aptly pointed out, just spamming people instead of, and this goes to a conversation you and I have a lot about, don't just, that use your judgment and watch what people do versus what the numbers necessarily show you. So these AI systems are, digging into conversations, another post you sent me, and they're finding things that are important to people, but then they're just spamming away because someone mentioned yoga pants. What was it? I think it was, you said something with that to do with Rihanna.
Well, it's conversational mapping. AI conversational mapping is a big field today, and everybody's getting into it, and a lot of people are investing in it. And by the way, I think it's smart. But the problem is, exactly what marketers are going to do with this. So yeah, the article I was reading was giving an example of people who talk about Rihanna and dogs and Starbucks coffee are interested in high-end yoga pants, right? So you're gonna have these systems that are mapping all these conversations, and all of a sudden marketers are going to flood people with yoga pants ads. And I'm like, Oh my God, stop it. Every opportunity, get back to basics with actually building a brand,
Right.
building brand preference, doing things, not going, oh, let's go sell somebody yoga pants because they talked about Rihanna. You know?
And using these valuable tools as insights instead of press the button, send something out. Like, by the way, as you know, and I know we've talked about, these insights are incredibly valuable. I mean, I certainly want to hear about them because I want to take those just like I would watching that path start to create up the hill or around a tree or somewhere else. But instead of automatically, like, because the urban planners, they're not just seeing that path and going, okay, quick, let's move the road. They're observing it, they're watching it, they're thinking about how people interact and engage with it. They're actually talking to people to understand why they're doing that, and then preparing, whether it's your ads or your content or your conversation or your engagement around those kinds of concepts.
Well, that, I think that's the perfect example is understand the why behind what people are doing. And then position your brand to take advantage of that, not just look at that as a transactional opportunity, right? I know that this person's talking about these things. Well, great. Let me go build content then. Let me go do things with my brand that is relevant to those people, not just shoot them an ad, get in their way and say, oh, buy yoga pants.
Right.
Yeah.
And again, what that does is it leaves out what we've talked about a lot, and I've talked about a lot this year, the customer experience with your marketing. Because again, you will see an uptick from things like that. You will get maybe a percentage click through. You will possibly sell some more product, but you're not looking at all the people who are saying, yoga pants? Like,
stop it.
Now? Like, why?
Like, stop it. Yeah, now.
Right. And please stop. You sent me one ad. That's great. I'm not interested. Don't keep banging me over the head because I'm still having that conversation and your AI-induced system has said that I'm more apt to buy yoga pants than somebody else or some other product.
Well, and you know what happens now is I don't just get your yoga pants ad on my Facebook feed, right? Or I get your yoga pants ad on my Facebook, on my text, in an email, because your smart systems have once again overwhelmed me. And all of a sudden I'm like, dude, hey, by the way, smart systems, I just bought some yoga pants last week. I don't know how many pairs of yoga pants you think I need, but it ain't 10,
And pretty soon those ads are going to be showing up on our TVs, our toasters, and our doors as we walk in the house.
Oh, yeah. What's the one? I love it. I get these crazy ads on, you use Waze, right?
Yes, of course.
So I love when I'm driving and Waze is now actually doing polls when I'm sitting at the stoplight. It's like, which one of these brands have you seen an ad for recently? And I'm like, I don't know. I'm not looking at Waze to find Burger King. I'm looking at Waze.
And by the way, Waze, stop taking my attention away from what I should be paying attention to.
Well, they are doing it at the stoplight. I will give them credit. It's when you stop and it pops up.
But again, I think we're looking to keep these videos a little bit shorter. Yeah. Of course, my timer stopped in the middle, so I'm not 100% sure where we're at. But what I'd like to kind of just wrap up with real quick is the point we're trying to make here is that this whole idea of desire mapping is really, or desire paths, which lead to desire mapping, is really interesting. Can be applied to marketing, but again, you've got to use your brain and think versus just looking at data and having an algorithm send out an ad.
It's great. I couldn't have said it better myself. Hey, we'll share the link to the article when we share this video, and thanks as always for watching.
Yep, we really enjoy it. Look forward to next time. Thanks, John.
All right, bye.